gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
This is usually wake up. Go get your, daily book. Usually get it here on the Early Bird Special. I'm Chris Burdick, and that's Sparky, and we got another special guest in the house with us, the funniest doorman in town. We'll stand by that statement. Nathaniel Webb's in the house. What's going on, brother? How are you?
There volume?
Yeah.
Want to turn it up?
Turn it up. No, not the music. Music go away.
That's why I play the metal in the morning.
Probably the headphones.
He's got to wake up.
This turns you guys up?
Yeah, that one would be yours right there.
Oh, this
From
right
the
one?
Yeah, the one on the right.
This
Yeah,
is
sorry.
for when he
My
finally
right, your left.
decides to come in this room and hang out.
Yeah,
Well, somebody's got to press the buttons.
I know. That's what I was telling him during the break. Because until we get somebody on that side of the glass, unfortunately, we all can't sit.
Well,
in the
once
same
we
room.
get down to
You guys have
Woolworths,
people back there.
once we get down to Woolworths,
You
it'll
need
be
another one?
more intimate. But this is
I think these things are messed up. Hold on, let me help him out real quick.
well, you do that while I set up. So Nathaniel Webb
Oh,
is a one of our local comedians that is a part of the Well, and our boy Dan Betts introduced us a while back. I actually got to see Nathaniel a couple times over at the Well when they was still on that disgusting building on White Lane, which he tells me to say. I love that place because it was with
tells
it.
you to say that?
Yes. So I usually
So
I liked
yes,
it.
you can slander the building as well if you want to. Everyone has since they've been here. So
No, because I don't have hate in my heart like Daniel Betts does.
there you go.
I wouldn't
well
do that.
I liked it because it was right in my backyard. I could actually walk when it
Ooh.
was at White Lane. But now that we're all moving downtown, I guess I'll have to get used to being at the old Fish Lips building, and we'll be at Woolworths.
Oh, you
We're
heard
moving down to
about that?
Woolworths. Yeah, Dan told us a couple weeks ago.
Dude, you guys figure, I swear to God, you guys will figure out things before I do. I figured out like 3 days ago that we're
Who
gonna be
tells the
there.
doorman anything, though, right? I mean, come on.
Dude, I don't get told anything. Sometimes I get a text that morning that's like, dude, your mic's canceled. And I'm
Oh.
It's like, oh, that's messed up.
Well, I was going to bring that up because we had Anthony on last week, and he was talking about
Quick question. You had Anthony up here to talk about sports?
a little bit.
Well, a little bit,
It was
yeah.
more about feet.
Talk
Yeah,
a little flag football.
It was more about how he bombed on some
The
feet
foot
jokes.
fetish jokes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Those usually don't work. I mean, I'm not a foot person, but
No, he's good at those.
he seemed happy about it.
We hats off to him because we all obviously have our foot fetish jokes that we want to get off the table, but he kind of rules that category. We don't step on his toes. That's not a joke. But
Oh,
we leave those jokes to him because he's the pro at him. And he says he bombs, but he kills. He's a monster. He's being humble.
Well, I've heard. So you do a weekday show now over at Ava's. I knew about the pregame show with Anthony, which is what Thursday nights, I believe.
Yeah.
And then they brought up the new Midweek Crisis Comedy Club or a comedy show with Jason, and
Buddha Hazy.
now you have the weekday show, which is over at Ava's for now.
You say now, but
For now,
we're the longest running open mic.
see, he said the same thing.
Did Anthony say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the longest running one. It's on Thursday, but the host changes like
Yes.
every other month. So he came in after somebody got tired of it. So he got seconds. That's all he got. He got nothing cool. We've been doing it for a long time.
So how long you been in comedy?
Me?
Yeah, you personal.
Just me? Okay. You flirting with me, dude? I don't ever get this personal. I've been doing it 3 years. 3 years?
3 years.
Yeah.
All right.
Started when I was 17.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you have to go to school after this, or
Yeah. Well, yes. That's why I'm exhausted. I was up all night doing homework and studying for a test. And honestly, I was underwhelmed when I woke up because I was like, God, this hurts. Like, do you ever wake up and your stomach hurts?
Yep.
That's how you know you're like, dude,
This is going to be one of those days.
I'm about 4 hours behind on whatever I should have got. And I woke up and I was like, am I really waking up to do this guy? Because I didn't know you guys are on the radio. You said something about ESPN. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know if that's your dad or something, but I woke up this morning. I'm like, am I really waking up at 7 o'clock to do a podcast for these two guys? I want to talk about the Cavaliers getting swept.
Well, he's a Cavs fan. So
Don't look at me.
yes.
Look, I got my piece out. Okay, it was embarrassing enough.
But I turned on the radio and I was like, oh, okay.
They're getting over the Cavs stuff over before I get there.
I got my piece out, so it's going to be a happy day for the rest of the
I
day.
was just hoping this was gonna be live, because if it was recorded, I was like, who's waking up this early to talk about the Cavs if it's not live?
Oh man. So we are live from 7 to 9 Monday through Friday, but we also release it. We're also streaming on the YouTube, so
Hey.
you can see this young man.
That's awesome.
There is a bathroom right around the hall, so if you need to hit that before you go.
Yeah.
But so 3 years in comedy, how did you get into that? Is it just stumbled upon it, or did you start with like open mics, or?
No, I always wanted to do it. I'm sure you guys wanted to be talk show hosts when you're like 15, 16 or whatever. And so I was the same way. I had played basketball in high school most of the time, and I was from Tehachapi, so we didn't have a club or nothing like that, you know? So it wasn't until I came here to play basketball for Bakersfield College. Holla.
Renegades.
Now we're talking sports. Talking about the Cavaliers and Renegades last season.
Well, okay,
That's even more. No, I'm kidding. I
was gonna leave that one alone. We usually let the old man in the afternoon talk about that.
dude,
So.
I don't even know what our record was when I played. I'm just
I didn't even know
kidding.
they had a basketball team. To tell you the truth.
Oh no, they're pretty solid most of
Dude,
the time.
Really?
They have a co-ed PE class, but every once in a while they use the big court. That's all that
Yep,
happens.
that's all that matters.
And I redshirted somehow. But
It can be by the height though, because I mean you're a tall dude. What are you, 6'6" something?
okay.
I mean I'm like 5'4", so I'm looking up to
You
everybody.
set that
so.
up like you were about to roast the crap
No.
out of me.
No.
What are you like? 6'? I'm 6'6". And the second I moved to Bakersfield, I was 17, and then I immediately started coming out to all the open mics, because I've always had an itch for stand up ever since I was like 14 years old. So once I was able to actually start coming out to them and stuff like that, most of them I got kicked out of because I wasn't 18 yet. But once I turned 18, I started to go in all of them that were not 21 plus, and then I've been doing it ever since. I don't think I've missed a week since.
Right on.
When did that start for you though? Like, who was the inspiration to get you really wanting to do this?
None of them. They all suck. But no, but Daniel Best was actually cut me some pretty good advice after I went up for the first time. But none of the comedians back then are even exist anymore. You know, it's very. I mean, the scene out here is very come and go. It's very beautiful though. It's like a butterfly maybe, but there wasn't much inspiration. It was just I knew I wanted to go up there.
Really?
And it actually, what helped me was going to the open mics, seeing grown men bomb, and being like, I can do better than that.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell that to everybody who's coming into the scene. I'm like, dude, watch some of these fellas. They're not good. That will make you feel pretty good about yourself. And then you go up there and do the same exact thing. But yeah, you do worse than them. And you're like, I think I have a good foot fetish show. And then you go up there and you do the same exact thing that you watch for 5 minutes. No. But it did take me a while. I didn't go up for my first time until I was 18, but I was watching it since I was 17. Eventually, I got the balls to go up, and then I did it, and it was the coolest night ever. It was so cool. I actually did pretty well. I've been writing that material for 6 years. Just getting it ready.
You're like, if this does not work, I have to restart everything.
Yeah. Back to the drawing board.
Which I didn't know. I mean, until probably 5 or 6 years ago, I went to open mic. When I first met Dan, I went out to the Rocket Shop Cafe for an open mic and saw him and Boydston and a couple other guys, and I was like, wow, this was cool. And within probably 2 or 3 months,
donate money.
Yeah, how do I help these guys out? And I met Dan through some local vet stuff that we were doing over at the Portrait of a Warrior Gallery, and we connected, and I introduced him to my buddy that was actually opening the Well as a concert venue. And COVID shut it all down, and push came to shove, and Dan ended up getting the Well up and running full time. And I was like, cool, it's going to be a full-time thing. I hope we have enough comedians. And then I started seeing all these open mic shows, and we would go right around the corner and see, and I was like, damn, there's a lot of talent out here. There's also a lot of ones that sucked, but that's fun is what go to an open mic and seeing these comedians, test out their stuff before, other shows. And I actually enjoy the open mic shows better than, the big shows personally.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the mindset. You got to know you're watching.
you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. I'm bombing all the time, and I've been doing it for 3 years. I think about the people who had just started. Obviously I was there too, but you go up there and you have to try a new joke. You have no idea if it works, and you thought of it when you're high. That's like a double whammy. You're probably gonna bomb when you
funny
get up
when
there.
you're not high. just to see.
Everything sounds funny when you're high.
Dude, I had a joke about texting people at 3:37 in the morning, and I was crying laughing at 3:37. I'm like, that is such a funny premise. I only text people back at 3:37 in the morning, and for some reason, when I was high, I was like, that is the funniest thing in the world. I'm done. This is my new football.
This is your ticket.
Yeah, and then just saying it on stage, I'm like, what am I even saying?
What am I talking about? Well,
Like,
we'll take this
didn't
quick
even
break real
run
quick.
the joke.
And I know you have a show coming up tonight, so we'll get into that much more right here on the Early Bird Special, ESP in Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Nathaniel Webb still in the building with us. Got a show tonight at Temblor with a couple of his buddies, including Anthony, who we heard last week, Tyson, who's on the show a couple times.
Misfits Comedy Showcase.
Absolutely. Go check it out tonight. 7 is when doors open, correct? 8 o'clock is when the show starts.
This is Misfit. Sounds like a Jerry Punk show. I didn't know that was
Back in
name
the
of it.
day.
Well, I mean, you look at the flyer, you kind of got the Misfits looking going, the kids from high school kind of a thing. I like it.
That's your only mention of the flyer. No more after that.
We'll leave it at that, apparently.
Yes.
So what are they going to be in for tonight at this show? Like, what kind of comedy do you usually like to run with? Maybe the rest of these guys. I know we like to talk about Tyson has stepdad comedy, like I like to call it.
Nice.
Anthony's the foot guy.
Anthony's the foot
Did you
guy.
say that to his face?
Yes,
Stepdad
I have.
comedy?
I've
Yes.
said it multiple times.
Dude, I don't think he's, I don't know. Take a few steps down, I assume, or something like that. Tyson.
I've never seen Tyson, so
You've never seen Tyson?
He
No.
hasn't
perform?
seen Tyson.
the
stand
last
up.
2 shows I went that he was
Oh.
supposed to be, he was sick. So
He's so enthusiastic about his racist stuff. It's awesome. It's like when he goes up on stage, it's a blessing to see, because he goes up there and he talks like a substitute teacher. He'd be like, yeah, la, da, 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 da. But he'll be talking about the most racist thing you've ever heard in your life, and you're like, I don't know, like
If I
the
should
way
is he
he's
serious or not?
and the way he looks, he's like, you can't be this enthusiastic about your racist joke. It doesn't look good on you, you know?
Well, now I've got to see him.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it's a
Lord.
joy. I usually talk about just here all my jokes on my phone screen. I got one about Panda Express,
Which I had last night for dinner.
dude,
Me and my son had it. We had my wife was out, so we were fast fooding it, and
It's a dad dinner.
Panda was the closest, and we that's what we had.
let me actually see what happened. You should make, I don't know, how about you make dinner? And you're like, I'm out of here. Go
to Panda. That's what really happened, and it was good actually.
Dude, Panda Express is the best thing in the world. It really is.
I always get like the big plate thing. I'm starving, and I end up leaving with after I eat like
Half of
lunch
it's
for
still
2
there.
days.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, all right, that works.
That's the positive. It's Chinese food. You're supposed to leave with way too much left over.
It's not just Chinese food. This is Panda Express we're talking
This is
about.
Right?
true. It's Americanized Chinese food.
This is the only food that you can eat to where it's like it looks and tastes delicious, and after you're done, you're like, did I just eat someone's ass? Like, what is wrong with this food? That is Panda Express.
Oh,
is
good
the
Lord.
only food I do. Every single time I'm holding my stomach, 'cause I'm like, something's gonna shut down, and I gotta probably revive it or something.
My bowels are dying.
That's why I get up extra early before this show in case I could have my stomach all steady before the show starts.
You've
'Cause
been antsy. You've been going up
I
and
have.
down, pulling out your shirt a little bit.
it's the soda.
It's the sweat coming down to the brow.
It comes out of somewhere, and you don't know
Yes.
what orifice yet, but you'll know in the next.
It is
couple
coming.
minutes.
I definitely see that. But no, I was going to ask you, like we've asked a couple other comedians, the transition from the Well venue to Ava's. I know I've heard from other people that do a lot of crowd work. but they were saying how the lights are in Ava's, which I haven't gone out to Ava's yet. But is it a different vibe in that venue compared to maybe the Well or Timber?
It is definitely like quiet, like the ambiance in there. Have you guys ever been? Do you guys have pods in your school?
Mhm.
You know, and you go in your pod and you're like, is this the quietest room of all time? It's kind of like that, like doing comedy in the pod at school, because the second you do a joke and it bombs, it's like you can hear somebody like holding back a fart all the way in the back of the room. Like,
I knew it was coming.
It's so quiet in there. The dead, there's no AC going, and plus there's like it gets dark pretty late now, so it's like daytime, so you can see everybody's faces, and then just people going, you know what I mean? If things aren't going hot. But it is a beautiful place, you know. Eva did a good job. She decorated it, is what I heard. And it's a really nice place. And I like the rows seating, you know, and people are coming out. It's downtown, you know, plenty of people are anyway. We did our show last night, the weekday show, and it was a blast. We had about 20, 30, 40 people out.
Right on.
Somewhere in there. And,
20, 30, 40, 50 maybe.
24, it could have been 100, dude. I didn't count. I was on stage the whole time. I didn't know.
See, well, Anthony was saying that it's different for him because, you know, the Well, I mean, I'm from here to you is probably 6 feet.
Yeah.
And that's how close we were, you know, at the Well with the comedians. And it was crotch level because there was several times where my wife got
well, as tall as he is, it's knee level.
Exactly.
Is that policy?
Huh?
Knee level?
That's probably, well, I mean, as tall as you are, everybody else is crotch level. I would assume you're a couple inches taller than everybody.
Yes.
So I remember the last time we went to the final show at the Well, and which you killed. I that's when I had told Betts, like, hey dude, we got to get Nathaniel on the show. But no, then Anthony was saying the difference at Ava's, it's the lights are different, so he can't see the faces. So he wasn't sure if he was bombing or somebody were smirking or they weren't even there at all, because he said it just gets blinded.
Yeah.
But
now it's like light at night. But you're absolutely right, because whenever you have a spotlight, it's like there could be no one there or everyone there. And honestly, that's when you can start playing pretend. You can be like, there's just 1,000 people in here.
We can actually open up.
So I'm bombing extra bad. You know?
So it is. I mean, I've been to Timber. So is how their setup is it just where it's not in rows like the seating is, or it's just in like spots?
They might as well throw shows outside in the parking lot. The roofs are so high in there. It's like, hello. Every time you say something there. It's that's where I first did stand-up. So it's always good to go back to Tumblr because it's very nostalgic for me. Because they shut down the open mic there probably a year and a half ago. So going back there, being the first place ever done stand was great. And it was actually the most challenging room we had, because it's so, when people are so spread out and they can see everything, the lights are off, they can see each other not laughing or see each other laughing. Sometimes it works in a good way, but when you have a room that big, it's so hard to get people to start laughing, you know? Like the first comedian who goes up on stage to crack them is another level at like Tumblr, because everyone can see each other. We're all looking at each other's facial reactions, you know?
Is he laughing? Should I be laughing?
Yeah, exactly. And then somebody is literally half a football field away from you, and you're trying to make this guy laugh. That's crazy.
Well, our boy Don Bynum and Tom Maxwell, they told me you're a comedy favorite over there at Timber. So tonight's show, doors open at 7. Show starts at 8. I think there's 4, maybe 5 comedians on tonight's card.
You count?
I believe.
I
that's
think
why
there's 5.
It was like 20, 30, 40, 50. I know there's 4 or 5 I know of.
Did you count the headshots on the flyer?
And I know there was
like,
Ivan Sanchez, which didn't have a picture on that flyer. Or no, it was
Reggie.
Reggie's the one that didn't get the headshot.
Don't know who that is, but I'm sure
Last
he's
second
really
Phillips.
good.
I don't think Anthony did either, so that's why he's like, I'm not going to put a picture in there.
I just imagine like the family that sees this flyer and goes, "Oh wow, that looks fun." Because they probably don't exist. Is what I'm saying. There's no way that somebody sees this flyer. It's like, oh wow. Like
I tried to talk nice about your flyer, man. I tried. We tried. I'm sorry.
School group project. This looks fun.
This goes in the fridge.
I put it right next to your report card.
What was that?
Lord.
Shane Gillis.
Yeah,
that was the comedian that
you guys had Shane Gillis.
took a
no.
shot.
I wish that'd be great.
Wow.
But no, I believe that's the show. He was the venue he was talking with was Timber when he said it was after a hard day at work with a bunch of oil people that had probably a day drinking all day, and he just disliked doing the show in
Did you say
Bakersfield.
Timber or the Fox?
Timber.
It was actually the Fox. Are you
Really?
talking about his hot wings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was after the Fox. I saw a show at the Fox. Everything he was talking about is totally true. I was like sitting in the balcony, and people the whole time were just like, Shane.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, what? Nothing to
Just
say
stop
after
the
that.
show.
Just want to say his name.
I've seen a couple of shows at the Fox, and I mean that happens in a lot of shows, especially in Bakersfield,
Yeah.
where there's hecklers, and
I wouldn't even call them hecklers. They just want the guy to look at you for 2 seconds.
well, I
Most
mean,
of the time.
what was it? The Kevin Hart one down at the
Yeah,
Fox.
that was a fight.
But
That
they
was
all have stories. It's crazy.
Yeah.
If you listen to podcasts, any mention of Bakersfield, we are the worst thing in the world, apparently. Which is
Yes.
I don't believe because it seems great. But everyone I've ever heard from, this is a kind of an inside story. I don't know if you guys are going to your third break or something like that, but
no, we got a
no, you
couple
got
minutes.
okay. There was one comedian who'd been performed at a lot at the Comedy Store, the world famous Comedy Store in LA, and he started coming to the Well a lot, and he started throwing his own shows. I won't name drop him, but he had a lot of connections with a lot of the comedians in LA, and he almost got Bobby Lee to come to the Well Comedy Club just through close connections. And then everybody thought he was coming. He thought he was coming, and then day of the show, he calls Bobby Lee and he goes, "Bobby, we're starting in like 45 minutes. Are you coming?" And he goes, "Hey, it's Bakersfield." He goes, "I know, but we booked you on the show." And he's like, "Come on, it's Bakersfield. What are we doing?" Last minute cancel. And his excuse is, "It's Bakersfield."
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
Bakersfield.
dang, dude, is that how much we suck? We're an hour away.
we
Like,
get
you
a
can't-
lot of grief from LA just for being Bakersfield too.
I know.
And that's the issue. But I mean, again, I like you. I don't necessarily see it with everybody. I think that we have a lot of good things, but there's a handful of bad ones that just make everything look worse. So
Yeah.
that's all it is.
I think we're beautiful over here.
I think so too. But
Vacation spot.
we got to wrap this up though. Go to break real quick, pay some bills. Nathaniel, thank you so much for your time, my friend.
Yes, find us on Instagram. We got the said flyer on our page.
Dope.
Go see Nathaniel
You guys are awesome.
right
brother.
here tonight at Timber Show. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 8. We appreciate it, brother. Go back to school.
I'm gonna go see Romeo. Later, guys.
Do it.
See you, brother.